Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill him.
Is that a jeweler named Duke recently got killed. And the story's really messed up. So I want you to talk about what happened.
Crimson-streaked dice slid across that velvet table like it was staged for a movie. Smiles were shared, but only one man was leaving with breath in his lungs. Duke the jeweler didn't pass with empty pockets. He left this world surrounded by predators, and now there's suspicion staining Mob Ty's name. The feds? Oh, they're locked in. Duke wasn't just targeted, he was taken out, and not by some mystery figures lurking in shadows. This happened right after he dipped out of Boosie's dice game, flanked by folks who gave him pounds 1 second and possibly coded glances the next. Those same folks, they're now feeling that federal pressure. And 50 Cent? He's out here turning whispers into sirens, posting clues and teasing a setup way messier than we first thought. And here's where it flips into a full-blown thriller. Exactly 2 weeks before Takeoff was taken out in a dice game that looked all too familiar, Duke was the one cooling the heat at a J. Prince Jr. table. And when the wrong man starts stacking chips, that's when the room flips. Now, Mob Ty's whole circle is under the microscope. Boosie, J. Prince Jr. Lil Cam Nobody's untouched. What started as side talk? It's turning into subpoenas. But how did it even get this dark? Let's pull back, because what seemed like a casual dice game might have been a setup wearing a smile from the jump. From the outside, Duke the jeweler looked like he had it all. Straight out of Chicago, self-made, built his whole empire from scratch, and he wasn't just out here lacing up random rappers with flashy chains. This man was curating custom work for serious names big fish. Not just internet hype. He didn't slide into Houston for kicks. He came for serious business. Word is, Boosie himself brought him out to talk details about an exclusive piece. So Duke loaded up his $1 million Louis duffel with some of his finest creations and made that trip. What he didn't see coming, that meeting was about to double as a one-way ticket. Now let's zero in on that dice game. According to leaked audio from Whack 100, and yes, this comes straight from someone deeply plugged into the streets, this wasn't your average roll the dice type of scene. This was structured. Word is, J. Prince Jr. might be running what folks now call a rigged dice setup. And here's the kicker, it's always the same trio clocked in. Lil Cam, Big Capri, and Wolf. Like clockwork, they rotate those dice like it's some kind of coded ritual. And guess what? The house always eats unless somebody slips up and the pattern breaks. Well, that night, somebody slipped. If you believe Whack, Duke got the dice they never intended for him to touch. And yup, they were rigged. He started stacking up fast. First hundreds, then racks, then serious 5-figure heat. Fast. And what happens when somebody cracks a setup that's meant to stay airtight? The folks running it start scrambling. Let's run the numbers. Insiders say J. Prince Jr. allegedly collects around 30% off every dice night. So when Duke started running it up, that wasn't just bad luck, it was cutting deep into someone's pockets. And Duke wasn't low-key about it either. His vibe was loud, proud, and shining. He was iced out, tossing bills like party favors, and catching every second on camera for the gram. Now here's where it gets downright eerie. If you freeze the video from that night, there's a moment where Boosie gives a soft whistle. Not aggressive, but enough. Right after that, his nephew turns and locks eyes with Duke. Then, a man in a red hoodie reaches over and taps the nephew's arm like a silent cue. In an instant, the whole energy flips. 1 minute, Duke's laughing and living it up. The next, the whole room feels like it's holding its breath. And just minutes after that shift, Duke ends up gone. That type of tension? You can't fake that. It ain't overthinking, it's instinct. Because when you walk into a room full of folks who already know how the night ends, the air feels different. And if you're still unsure this wasn't some regular game night, ask yourself, why would Boosie bring a guest rocking 7-figure jewelry to a table with strangers and no added protection? Why didn't Jay Prince Jr. arrange safety for a guest flying solo with that kind of shine? Now, let's rewind to when Duke left the game. No bodyguard, no crew, no ride waiting, just Duke, strolling alone through a dim Houston parking lot after a night surrounded by riches. Sounds sketchy? That's because it is. But here's where shady turns deadly. Moments later, gunshots crack through the air. Duke is ambushed and tragically taken out. Now normally, when something's a setup or a heist gone sideways, the first thing that disappears is the bling and the cash. But Duke? He was found with everything still on him. So what kind of robbery skips over 7-figure jewels? The same $1 million pieces he flexed at Boosie's concert just hours before his life was cut short.
Time but never gave up. I stayed tough, even when I got my chain stuck. Go through hard time, but we know that what made us. Can't blame us, we love the script, but that what paid us. Yeah, ain't gonna act like know them niggas laid up. I call King, I get the pressure going where I'm up. I can't even find know how many nights I done stayed up.
And here's where the whole story flips on its head. The Louis Vuitton bag Duke had on him? Yeah, that bag. The one loaded with his rarest, unreleased custom jewelry? It didn't vanish into thin air. It turned up inside Boosie's house. Sit with that. That's not Blog Talk Houston PD verified it. Now, whether Duke handed it over to Boosie to hold during the game, or Boosie ended up with it after things went left, nobody's confirming. But one thing is beyond debate. The bag went back home with Boosie. And Boosie's response? A shaky Instagram live from an airplane, claiming he barely even knew Duke like. He just popped up out of nowhere. Real convenient.
He was walking to his car or something, and some dude tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. Some dudes had tried to rob me and walked off by himself, man. I had just met dude yesterday. Some bitch that tried to rob dude, man. Dude must ain't get up.
Flight Jack, we're up to departure. Flight attendants, please clear the cabin.
Just met dude.
But wait, didn't Boosie say Duke was about to design him a custom piece? So you barely knew the man, but you let him into a private dice game, and then let him stroll off solo to his car? After flashing a cool $1 million in jewelry? Yeah, something in that story ain't lining up. And he kept talking.
We was in a garage. He must have walked outside to the parking lot. We was in a garage. We heard this. But it like they was far away in the parking lot. He must have went to his car or something, bro. Dude was finna make a piece of him too. Damn.
But let's not kid ourselves, didn't give off innocent vibes at all. Face was pale, and that nervous energy was hard to miss. And if you thought that was the wild part, it only spirals from here. The Fed shoe were already circling Boosie over some other legal heat split Duke's case off into its own separate federal investigation. No delays, no pushing it back behind old cases. Just one mission: figure out what really happened to Duke. So they did what they always do: follow the digital trail. Duke's final phone ping? Boosie's recording studio. And unless Duke's phone suddenly learned how to take itself on a field trip, someone in Boosie's crew brought it there. And get this, they didn't even try to cover it up. No wipe, no smash, just powered off right after that ping, like somebody made sure it went dark. That's what lit a fire under the feds. Then came the search on Duke's rental. Forensics pulled up prints from Boosie's nephew and his cousin. And just when you thought this couldn't get any messier, boom. A witness just outside, puffing on something, stepped up and said they saw Duke walking alone to his car. Everything looked chill, until it wasn't, but out of nowhere, Boosie's nephew slid out the cut like he'd been posted up, just waiting for the right moment. Duke must have felt the energy shift, cause word is, he swung first, tried to stand his ground, but it was already too late. One sudden move, and Boosie's nephew allegedly pulled that trigger. And get this, they didn't even bother to fake a robbery. Why? Because this wasn't about money. This was about shutting him up, silencing. And instead of making the bag disappear, they kept it. That's not just careless, that's straight up bold. And guess who else peeped the arrogance? 50 Cent. You ever notice how when celebs pull up in Houston, there's always that low-key warning? Make sure you check in. It ain't written anywhere, but it's real. Artists, influencers, athletes, they all hear it. If you move through Houston without tapping in with J. Prince Jr. and the Mob Ties clique, you're rolling the dice, for real. But here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wanna face. What if the same folks you're supposed to check in with are the ones setting you up? Let's not forget J. Prince Jr. was the one hosting that dice game Duke showed up to. Same setup from the game where Takeoff lost his life. And after Duke ended up gone too, that whole check-in culture flip protection turned into suspicion. Cause if J. Prince Jr. really ran the city the way he claims, how come 2 people left in body bags? Even Whack 100 had to speak on it.
The entertainer invites him in, act like he's covering for him, hanging out, everything is cool. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go here, let's go there. He introduces the dice game. He got 3 right, who rotate the dice. Now these dice is loaded. Tell me it's a Wolf, Big Caprice, and watch this, and Little Cam are the loaded dice rotators, right? He said what? There was a situation that occurred that a certain jeweler round and got past the dice on accident and was hitting on them for a couple hundred. They got irritated about that. I ain't gonna go too far into that story because, right, boom. The only way they could get their money back was however money back. He said, but Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice are the 3 designated to say I'm up, I got the next, and they pass the dice to each other, but they loaded, but they shooting.
He called it a whole setup play, said Jay. Prince Jr. reels artists in with that fake friendly energy, gets them comfortable, then brings them into dice games surrounded by his crew.
Nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched that. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. The math is math and let it math. But entertainers, beware. Oh, with J. Prince Jr., when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of 3, Lil Cam, Wolf, and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way, he was caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, J. Prince Jr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say 5th Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep. That's a fact. That word been out, Whack. That word been out. We been out that memo.
And then, so they've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point at the thing, Quavo like, that into dice. That's what this nigga J. Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He just think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker. Cause they like, nigga, how you pass this nigga the loaded dice on us?
Now, the word on the curb? Some celebs are quietly backing off. Labels canceling Houston bookings. The energy's turning toxic. Even 50 Cent's been throwing shader posting clips, writing captions that leave nothing to the imagination, calling the game out. Some folks say he's pushing his luck. Others, they think he's just the only one with the guts to speak the truth. Meanwhile, insiders say Boosie is spiraling, panicking that the feds are on his neck now, and this time, they're not backing off. They peeled this case off from Boosie's old gun situation and started zeroing in on just the night Duke lost his life. Now they're digging through everything, his mansions, his money trails, even his son's online footprints. But the real storm might be brewing inside the house. Word is, Boosie's own girlfriend spilled to someone that he ran back inside that night and looked like he was definitely hiding something. But Boosie? Still out here putting on an Oscar-worthy act like he don't know a thing. And that same line? That's all he's feeding everybody. Now folks are starting to ask the real question: if Boosie goes down, who else is coming with him? Cause Boosie ain't a lone wolf. His nephew's mixed up in it. His cousin's name been dropped. And now? He's linked with J. Prince Jr., who's already catching heat since Takeoff's passing. The web is tangled, and all these threads seem to lead right back to one spot. But oh, it gets juicier. Finesse 2 times yes. The same rapper Mob Ties once backed Heavy is now throwing shade out loud. Went from shouting out J. Prince Jr. in every interview to barely speaking on him at all. Something definitely shifted. At first, the pullback looked quiet. Finesse stopped popping up with Junior, no performances, no backstage pics. Then the streets started buzzing. Allegedly, it all blew up over a woman. But not just any woman, Finesse's baby mama. A few months ago, she and her own mother reportedly set him up, called the law on him, and got him thrown right back inside for a probation slip. And who swooped in to save the day? None other than J. Prince Sr. himself. He worked the phones behind closed doors, pulled some strings, and boom, Finesse was back outside in 2 weeks. But instead of showing love, Finesse ran right back into the arms of the same woman. That's when Senior was done. He hit Twitter and said it loud, "No filters. I told the homie to stay the FK away from that woman if he loves his life. But the homie wouldn't listen to my words, even though I had to step in to get him out of prison. Y'all better be careful out here thinking these women have your best interest at heart." And this is where things go from messy to downright scandalous. Word on the street is J. Prince Jr. might have been messing around with Finesse's girl and even got her expecting allegedly. Is it confirmed? Not at all. But the fact that folks are even running with Iton Finesse hasn't shut it down? That's saying a lot. While some fans brushed it off as petty drama, others started connecting dots. Junior's been clashing with Takeoff's people. He's got quiet tension with Boosie bubbling up. And now Finesse? He's unraveling in real time. People are whispering, how many feuds can you spark before your whole kingdom caves in? Because let's keep it real. When your whole image is built on control, fear, and silent power moves, it only takes one slip, one artist, one ally, one insider. And boom, everything crashes. So now everybody's watching. Will Boosie be the first to break his silence? Will Finesse finally come clean about what went down? Or will 50 Cent's obsession with mob-style drama push J. Prince Jr. to do the unthinkable flip the script to save himself? Either way, the walls are caving in, and those quiet whispers, they're turning into loud bangs. Behind the scenes, federal eyes are all over Boosie's property, Trail his Baton Rouge mansion, his Georgia land, all